Yeah. Okay.
We are back.
We're back after.
Sorry, everybody.
Almost a month-long hiatus. We were. What? Is that word funny to you, Owen? Hiatus.
Hunter X Hunter.
Hiatus X hiatus. So there was just some things that came up, and then we actually recorded an episode.
Which was a great episode. I'm sorry you missed it.
It was great. But as you guys might have noticed, the audio isn't always the best. So we decided to put audio above recording last week and stuff. And as you may have noticed, Owen got a microphone now, so.
Yes, I have it in my contract that I need to sound like I'm not in a submarine.
Yeah, it wasn't sounding too good, but hopefully it sounds.
Lapel mics are
better.
good, but only for on the spot interviews.
Yeah.
So we're hoping to bring a little bit of better.
Yeah, I originally bought it for going out outside and do some vlogging camera stuff, but it does not sound good in a 5 feet away from the subject with wooden walls behind him.
Yeah, if you're out in the middle of nowhere and you're the only one speaking, yeah, it'd be fine.
Yeah.
But it picks up literally everything.
Yeah, so hopefully it's all good now.
Yeah.
We're back. Format hasn't changed much, except we're kind of seeing if free-for-all would be good for us, like free-for-all topics. So instead of just sticking to one topic, one subject a week, we would both just kind of
find stuff that's
interesting.
Yeah, there's still. I mean, this is what technically This is gonna
be the third upload.
Yeah, the third official upload.
Yeah.
So I think we're still kind of finding our stride.
Yeah.
And yeah, finding our stride. So we're trying different things out. I know eventually I do want to have a watch party.
Yes.
I don't know about the legality of watch parties, but there's some gold out there. I know some people have already tapped into those mines and have received such amazing things, life-changing knowledge.
Oh,
but I think a lot of our viewers could definitely do to be introduced to the world of the paranormal documentary.
Yeah. Let's see. You want to move that mic just a bit closer? I'm not sure if that was...
You want me to move it closer?
Not your lips are touching, but just...
We're pretty close to lips touching here.
Okay, well, I guess that's good then.
I can try to talk a little louder. I'll get into it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm a little tired because I went camping. I don't go camping every single week, even though this is the second time out of 3 podcasts that I came back from camping.
Yeah, I think the first one you came back.
Yeah, but I was camping. And it wasn't a state campground or anything. It was kind of a smaller campground. So people don't exactly follow the rules.
Mm-hmm. And
people decided to wait until 11 o'clock to start blasting Linkin Park. So I probably listened to a good two full albums of Linkin Park. And I listened to Numb twice and Shadow of the Day 1.5 times. So that was exciting. And then when they were done, during this, there was also people playing beer pong.
Mm-hmm.
And being very loud while playing beer pong and drinking a lot.
Dang, dude, I don't know what park you went to, but dang, that sounds horrible.
It was horrible. And yeah, it was 2:30 in the morning till I got to sleep because people didn't shut down till 2 o'clock. It was silence. But before 2 o'clock, yeah, it was Linkin Park and 90s rap.
Yeah, I need to show
blasting.
You some hot camping spots where no one knows about.
Yeah, Gary Lake, up near Leelanau. Go there.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So yes.
Yes, there's a music little rant there.
But that brings me to the Legend of the Dogman.
You might as well just start because you kind of brought up Leonel.
Well, I was bringing up 90s rap so I could go into the Legend of the Dogman.
No, why would you do that?
Well, 1987 came around in Michigan. Some radio dudes come out with the Legend of the Dog. Did you ever listen to it?
You know what? I didn't.
Oh, well, if you haven't listened to it, it's a lot like Carmen. You know who Carmen is?
Even after looking it up, no, I didn't.
dude. You gotta listen to some good Carmen.
You know that. Oh, I just realized. Can you like close that window?
No.
Yeah. I totally was gonna close that before we started. And then there's gonna be like cars everywhere. There you go. What a trooper.
Effort.
What a trooper.
Effort. I'm a trooper. Yeah, dude. I can we look up Carmen? Is that illegal?
Probably. All those DMCAs and copyrights.
But he was like a super Christian artist, so I feel like he's not coming after you for copyright.
Did you hear Yellow Card what they tried to do?
Yellow Card's not Christian.
Oh, they aren't?
No, dude.
No, not Yellow Card. Wait, hold on.
They make stuff that kind of sounds like it could be like part of the pop punk Christian.
Yeah,
genre.
I feel like it was Yellow Card. No, I thought they were Christian though.
Dude, you gotta bless some people with the sounds of Carmen. Just the I met a wizard, went to a wizard's house or something like that, or the Satan bites the dust. Satan bite the dust. So anyway, Legend of the Dogman was a 1987 song that a disc jockey made, and it hit a vein with people. They were like, I've actually seen something like this.
Yeah.
And he actually came from an actual local urban legend in Michigan, which I think is cool. That's why I chose it, was because it's like the Michigan Dogman.
Yeah.
There's a lot of tales about it in Wisconsin, and the UP in Wisconsin, they're kind of connected up there. But it's the Michigan Dogman, so.
Yeah, it's our own representative state.
Yeah. But that kind of made the whole Legend of the Dogman famous, was that song that came out, and it was just a cool little, so very late 80s, early 90s. Had some stuff that sounded almost like it was from Zelda. Yeah. Dude, I
like super sequenced drums and stuff like that, like.
Yeah, just like the eerie, like foggy ambient fantasy keyboard in the background with the snare, the one snare, with like all the reverb on it.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. I can hear it in my head right now.
Yeah, dude, we're gonna have to. I'm sure it's fine to play.
We'll play in the background for like 5 seconds as a nice little sound effect.
And play some Carmen too, right? Gotta get some Carmen in there. Oh, I love Carmen.
How much have you been listening to Carmen?
I actually haven't heard it in years. I would listen to some of his good old songs while I was delivering pizzas, just for stuff to listen to.
You know what sounds really good right now? Carmen.
Carmen. Oh, but yeah.
So the Michigan Dogman, besides the hot single hits music that came out.
Yes. So that's kind of what like put it in the eye of the public, the Michigan public. But it actually, the very first sighting was actually in 1887. Wexford County, don't know where that is. It's not near us. I think it's up north somewhere.
Yeah.
Where two lumberjacks saw a creature they described as having a man's body and a dog's head. A lot of these sightings sound like very werewolf-like.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. Think of werewolves in Michigan.
But it's a dog man.
It's a dog man, not a werewolf. Get it right. All right, these are like the pre 1987, because after that there's a lot of like accounts, and I think a lot of those came from the song. They're like, oh yeah, I saw something like that too, and just stuff like that. But 1938 we had in Paris, Robert Fortney was attacked by 5 wild dogs and said that one of the 5 walked on 2 legs and was a lot bigger than all of the others. How he got out of 5 wild dogs with one walking on 2 legs. That's a question. Yep, so there's the 1987 one. Actually, where am I? This is... trying to get to the
juicy part. The juicy story.
The juicy story. We might have to cut some of this out because this is actually not the... Crap.
You lost it.
I was looking. This is not the thing I was...
Do you have like all your notes on like the same note thing?
Yes.
Like, just every episode, like, oh, no, those are aliens, no.
Well,
That's Bigfoot and aliens.
For the people that don't know, we recorded this before, and I had other stuff, and I was kind of looking into a different spot.
That.
What?
No, it was a few weeks ago, but I just remember, like, the one security guard.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to find.
Yeah.
Was the security guard photo, and we can bring that photo up, right?
Bring it up when it gets to that part.
When it gets to the good part,
if I can
which
remember
I'm
it.
about to be at when I find it. Oh, and we also... So this is, like, my favorite Dogman story. 1961 in Big Rapids. And Big Rapids is the place that's about an hour north of Grand Rapids.
Okay.
Kind of by the Huron-Manistee Forest. I'm going to do this story justice because I was a little confused when I read it the first time about the watchman.
Okay.
So this guy's a watchman at a factory, like a night guard, which that's got to be a crazy job.
I want that job. Well, I don't want it, but it will sound cool. Like, I won't be mad if I got it.
I wouldn't be mad. Like, it'd be scary walking around an empty factory because those things are huge, and thinking of all of that in the dark would be a little scary. But at the same time, it's like you're not dealing with anybody, you know? Unless somebody's actually trying to break in. But yeah, it'd be an exciting job, I feel like. And boring.
Oh, yeah, it was boring. I had an old buddy at Jets that worked.
Tell the people that don't live in Michigan what Jets is.
Jets, if you guys do not know, I think it's they have a few locations down south, but it's mostly like a Midwest thing. It's delicious pizza. It's like probably one of the best, like, I don't know, you would categorize it, fast food restaurant pizzas you can get.
Yeah.
It's actually really good. It's a little expensive, but it's good.
And fun fact, we both delivered there.
Yep.
Different points in time. I actually got to Isaac worked there twice.
Oh, yeah,
and
that was my first job. It was my first paycheck job.
Yeah, he worked there for a couple weeks.
Oh no, I worked there for like 2 months.
Oh, I got to be the one to give him the sad news.
He was fired, but
yes, because that was that was fun.
That was fun.
Yeah, pretty much. But then you came back and all was good. And it was fun times.
There were some really fun times. When
you went back, though, I was already gone. I was already in the factory.
Yeah.
Yeah, empty warehouses, they're creepy, man. And that's why to be a night watchman, they'd be even more creepy. So 1961, summer of 1961, Big Rapids. Night watchman for a factory. His house is on the other side of the factory. He decides to go to his front porch on his house and eat a sweet roll and some coffee. And from there, he sees something rustling, moving in the bushes. Like, something, like, stalking. And he thinks it's a person at first. So he actually gets out his gun. He draws out his gun. And so... he's like, something's going down. But after watching it for a while, he realizes that the thing is getting up on its 2 legs and then down on 4 legs every now and again. And it doesn't look like a person at all. It looks like a wolf. Pretty much looks like a werewolf.
Yeah.
Like really powerful shoulders it talks about. It's got the head of a wolf, not a bear. It's got a wolf head. So he was watching it. He said his brown-gray hair had all over it, had very broad shoulders and a powerful chest. It alternated between walking on 4 legs and standing up on 2. He said it seemed to be looking for something along the driveway. He couldn't believe what he was seeing, so he quietly moved into his house from the porch to grab his Kodak Signet 35mm camera, get a picture. And then this is where we should say that the night watchman was also a photography buff.
Boom.
Why wouldn't he be a photography buff? Which, so yeah, Kodak Signet 35mm 1961. It's a good camera. I guess. I don't know.
Kodak. I mean, it just came out, so he bought it. You know, it was like came out. Well, this is 62, wasn't it? So.
Yeah. No. He sent a copy of the picture, which we're gonna put up a copy of this picture that he took. Boom.
Boom.
Which is one of my... I just love this picture because night light lampposts at night, getting like
Mm-hmm.
that perfect cone, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this looks like it. That's the one thing about this, like, it's a great picture, and it almost looks too great for what it is.
It's too great.
Because, like...
Well, it doesn't sound like the story, like, lines up. Well, you said he got the camera out, right, and took the picture.
Yeah, he was watching this thing. He thought it was a person at first.
Mm-hmm.
And then after watching it a little bit, he realized it wasn't a person, but it was something that looked more like a dog, man, a werewolf type thing.
Mm-hmm.
So after watching, he quietly went into his house and grabbed his camera so he could take a picture of it. And then he took a picture of it. It was standing right under like this street lamp. And he got that picture, and that was his story. And then it ran off.
Mm-hmm.
That's some good photographic evidence, I think.
Yeah.
And it's just a cool looking picture.
Even if it wasn't, you said this was 62 or 63?
It was the summer of 61.
Oh, summer of 61. Oh, okay.
So in 62, he actually mailed this photo and his story to a magazine called Mysterion.
Mm-hmm.
And they put his story in the paper in 62. So this was a little bit before Photoshop.
Yeah.
And the Sun says that he still has the negative of this photograph.
Yeah, I want to see the negative, because that'd be
cool.
I was thinking, like, it'd be cool if we did some, like, investigative stuff where we, like, actually call people, like Bob Lazar, just as an example. Like, hey, Bobby!
They're in Big Rapids. They're not that far away, but like, hey.
How you doing?
They probably get this stuff a lot, too. I mean,
oh, I'm sure.
just local Michigan. I bet you it blew up after the 1987 song, the golden platinum hit.
Yeah. So this is what's interesting with the photo, is that
the thing looks a little blurry.
It looks a little blurry. Like, the actual monster looks a little blurry.
But the light posts are perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect. And that could be movement on the creature's end, which it probably is. And you'll see a criticism. They'll be like, well, if you look at the source file, it says that it was edited with Photoshop. I don't really see the point in that, because you could change the brightness on it and it would say edited in Photoshop. But the thing that's really interesting...
Well, I've literally scanned photos and then opened them in Photoshop just so I could crop them, you know, so the edges of the scan aren't there.
And it would say edited in Photoshop.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing was, you said this was 1961.
1961.
And...
Before
Bigfoot. This is before Bigfoot got big.
This is before.
Very important choice of words. This is before. It's when he was Littlefoot.
Littlefoot.
This is before Bigfoot hit the.
Before he caught his stride.
Before he caught his stride, his 15 minutes of fame, which goes on indefinitely.
More like 15 seconds.
Yeah, this is 1961, so this is 6 years before the Patterson-Gimlin film, which is the fancy word for the famous Bigfoot photograph. That's where they get... Well, not that. But like, that's where Bigfoot's doing, like, the Bigfoot walk.
The arm that they take from this is from the film.
That's the
stride.
famous one. And I didn't realize that. It kind of hit me, because it's like, the UFO, the Navy of the Tic Tacs, that actually was in 2004.
Okay.
That's like when they recorded it. Well, the first one was in 2004.
Yeah, because they were like, they didn't want to give it out to the public.
Yeah. And it was smuggled, and everyone thought, was like, oh, it's all fake and stuff like that. You're just posting this. It's like, yeah, so what? And then, like, here we are, 2020, like, came out like 2019 or something, with all these UFO videos of the Tic Tac, and it's like, whoa, look at all these UFOs. And it turns out, because the Navy actually confirmed that it was theirs footage.
So that's what I think is cool about this one is, I mean, maybe he thought he would have saw a Bigfoot if he had known about it. But this was before that, and like I said, this was before that song hit, before a lot of this stuff. So, and once again, like, why? Like, I feel like this is just, it's either a really good, like, like something funny prank, like, hey, this is gonna be good, and like, he got bored, so he had somebody pose out there, or he just wanted to like maybe up his game as a photographer and try to get his name out there by getting something crazy looking.
Yeah.
Or it could have just been complete coincidence that a night guard who was a photography buff, whose dad owned a photography shop way back before he was like, before any of this had happened, like the perfect storm of getting this photo. So yeah, I just thought that was cool, and I liked the photo.
Wasn't there like, there was something else with the Dogman?
Yeah. Are you talking about the Gable film?
Yes.
That one we watched that's like
yeah, that.
It's got some mysterious origins.
Do you know when that was? Do you remember roughly when that was?
I don't know.
Well, you said Super 8, so it was like in the 70s.
It was...
Wasn't it like 79 or 81 or something like... I don't know.
So, the thing about this Gable film...
We'll throw it up there because it's quite interesting.
It's like 3 minutes long of home video, and in the middle of that, there's this thing where they're chasing this weird creature, which actually we had that film, like I didn't see the part where they're actually in the car and they like see something in the woods. But there is something that definitely charges the camera that is definitely not human. To me, it looked like a cougar.
Yeah, we slowed it down and looked at it, and it's like...
I felt like it was very cat-like, and there are cougars in southern Michigan.
Yes.
Definitely in the 70s and 80s when there was less of a population, too.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was more, but we have confirmed counts of cougars in Bath on deer cams. So, I mean, I know technically, here's another Michigan, the local southern Michigan thing.
Yeah.
The DNR says... The DNR says they're extinct in Lower Peninsula. They're only in the Upper Peninsula. Yeah. But we've definitely got photos we've got photos of cougars taking out stuff. Yeah. And I think that would... I don't know what would be more scary, a bear or a cougar. I think a cougar
to me, definitely. If between a cougar or a black bear, 100% cougar would be scarier. I would rather take a black bear because you can scare those things.
And I feel like they either scare or they're
not like grizzly bears. They're just trying to live their life. That's what black bears are.
Where if a cougar was like... I feel like you could probably scare a cougar off too, but like they're just... Cats are ferocious.
Yeah, I know.
Have you ever seen a house cat? Like, can you imagine a house cat that's this?
Yeah. But as you saw in that film, it was like, at first I thought it was like, okay, so it's just some dude, in like a costume or something. But then like you look at the back leg, like I'll put the link in the description, a few links in the description this episode, and one of them will be to that video. And you can actually see like the leg. It took me a few times to watch, but I was like, oh yeah, that's not a human leg there, bud. That's like something.
Well, it's just scary because that thing is actually charging the camera.
Yeah.
And it's
big.
But
how'd they get the footage?
Well, that's the thing. It's like it was found in an estate sale. Like, did he die?
Dude, this sounds like a Stephen, what's that one author? I'm forgetting.
Stephen King?
Yeah, it sounds like a friggin' Stephen King setup right there. It's like a mysterious thing, and it like starts off in the estate sale, and they find this cool footage.
Well, yeah, it's just like, oh, this footage was found in an estate sale, and it's got like, and it's just mostly home video. Most of the 3 minutes is them like, they're cutting some wood, and they're on driving a snowmobile, and they're fixing a car, and then there's just this short cut of this creature that looks kind of cougarish. Some people say it's the Dogman, which I'm like, could be.
Could be.
Like a cougar, but it's something that charges the camera. And then the last frame, there's actually like teeth. Yeah, like you can see teeth on the camera. I just thought, that Gable film is. And then there was another story. There was one more that I wanted to say. There's actually a couple of them in Wisconsin. There's some good stories. I think it's called The Beast of Bray Road, which some teenagers saw something like a Dogman ish. Yeah. Let me pull up about the
dun 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 dun. Why? It's beautiful. No matter what you say.
Okay, the story of It's in Bendon, Michigan.
I don't know where that's at.
It's somewhere up north.
Sure. Of course.
So this is the one, it's also told secondhand by the brother-in-law of the witness. The witness was a prominent person in the local government of Bendon, which, if you know anything about smaller towns, everybody knows everybody.
Yeah.
So if the brother-in-law is coming out telling a story, you automatically associate it with this politician, even if he's just a small local politician, you know. And usually local politics, I mean, it's not like, it's a little different than
What was
the
that one
national.
Chris Farley movie? It was like Black Sheep or something.
Yeah,
it was
Black
basically
Sheep.
just a Tommy Boy but politics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So think of that now. But anyway, this is interesting. It's a little questionable because obviously the person who saw it was a local politician.
Yeah.
And maybe he just wanted some free air. And this was in 2007.
Yeah.
Which was...
Oh, wait, it happened in 2007?
Yes, this happened in 2007.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking like super old.
Which happens to be 20 years after that song came out. And in the song, every decade, the Dogman was seen. So this... It's got some things.
Yeah, they know their tunes.
They know their... They might have hit some local creepypastas. So he knew what he was doing in 2007. But yeah. So last Saturday night at around midnight, he was driving home from a friend's house in Benzonia, and taking the back way home to Traverse City. So it's by Traverse City.
Oh, okay.
He stated that while he was traveling down Cinder Road, several miles outside of the town of Bendon, he observed a pair of eyes reflecting off his headlights ahead of him. Thinking that it was probably a deer along the side of the road, he began to slow down. As he got closer, however, he stated that the object was much larger and much darker than a deer. He said that by this time he had slowed down to about 30 miles an hour and was at the point several hundred feet from the creature, which still hadn't moved. As he approached further, he stated that the only way he could describe the creature was being similar to a very large dark wolf. However, he observed that the thing wasn't on four legs, but was upright with his two back legs standing near a road-killed deer. Estimated that the creature stood a little over 6 feet tall and had very dark fur. He stated that by now he was going slow enough to bring his truck to a stop in the road and observe the creature, which had not yet moved and was still staring at him. He told me that for a brief second he believed that the object was a giant stuffed animal put there as some kind of joke due to the fact that it was like standing perfectly still.
Yeah.
Which could be, you know, if you've ever seen a deer, any sort of like wild animal, it just freezes. And it's pretty amazing how animals, when they don't know what's happening, how they can just like freeze to blend in. Told that before he could finish the thought of maybe it was a fake, the creature dropped on all four legs and sprinted across the road and disappeared into the woods. And it doesn't end here. He told me that he stayed frozen in his seat, wondering for a minute what had happened. And he says that he wasn't joking. Like, the brother-in-law is like, "Oh, you must have been drinking, huh?" And he was like, "No, whatever it was for real." As perplexed as he was that night over what he had seen, he was deathly afraid to go wandering in the woods to investigate further. He said that using a flashlight, he observed an animal's tracks leading into the woods on the opposite side of the road and was fortunate enough that night to have his digital camera with him. He showed a picture of the paw print, which he said appeared to be about 7 or 8 inches long. He had another picture of the same paw print where he placed a shotgun shell in the middle for scale. And you could see that, we can put up that probably.
Yeah.
You know? The paw print is huge, and in the palm of it, it fits a shotgun shell in the palm. That's how big the paw print was. So that one, he said he's lucky the side of the road was so soft because he wasn't willing to go any further near the woods to get any other tracks. I just thought that was an interesting story because it also had the picture, like it had some evidence of a picture of a paw print.
Well, it had a picture of a paw print.
Yeah,
and the paw print looks a little too good. Looks like those Bigfoot prints, like back in the day before they figured out, like, oh, those look super fake. Because
the politician also said, I was reading something else on it, and he's like, he's a hunter in northern Michigan. He knows what bears look like, and he's hunted them, and like, because there's also like, what is there? Is there moose or is it caribou?
I don't know, dude.
It's like moose or elk in Michigan. Also, they make that weird sound, like "Dong."
Don't. Yeah, let me just pull up my portfolio of what sounds like.
Yeah, get out your soundtrack. But he said it wasn't. He said it looked like
Yeah.
a wolfish creature, not a bear.
When was this?
2007.
Did it say when?
When? Like
around.
what time of year?
Yeah, what time of year?
Oh, I'd have to look. Make sure it's not anywhere near November.
Well, that's the thing. Speculation with this story, and it's interesting we're talking about it now because I don't know if you heard about that lady running for mayor in like North Carolina.
Oh, the one that
the
faked
really
her.
big black lady that like did the rap like promotional video, and it was like, I was mugged and kidnapped. And you watch the video and like it's so cheesy because the guy with the bat is literally like pulling his bat and you can tell it like slows down before it hits her. It's like, ugh.
I did not see that.
Yeah, dude. So
I guess local politicians do stuff.
yeah,
But, yeah, it was just a cool picture.
yeah, no, but I was talking time of year because about bears and how skinny bears get when they come out of hibernation.
Yeah, I don't know if people know about this, but
And they look crazy.
they look kind of creepy almost. Like, I could see where people think they're werewolves
Yeah.
because they look so skinny and like,
Yeah. I
Like-
wouldn't doubt if that's where like werewolves came from. Like someone just saw like a really big bear, but it was like fresh out of hibernation.
we got to show people
Big-
bears
big
before they go to
Before this,
Before
okay,
versus
okay.
after
So
hibernation.
this is after hibernation, and then this is after they get
Before.
ready,
go
right before hibernation.
after they've eaten.
Yeah. As you can see, there's quite a difference.
But yeah, like if you look at though, like it looks like they're just like Slender
Yeah.
Man walking on all fours.
Really, it's because it's like they don't look proportionate. It looks super weird.
Like yeah, they don't look like bears. That's why I said like this almost could be, it could be look like a werewolf or a dog.
And the speculation with the first story was the guy was right next to the Manistee Forest, which back then, I'm sure it was way more populated.
Yeah.
Yeah. So populated.
could've
It's like
been-
animal populated
Yeah.
type deal. That's what I was trying to say. So
And it
if
could
he
have been a
saw
black
something,
bear because getting on the pole,
oh yeah, that's true.
But,
But it was same with the Maury Island thing. Is that it's like it's dismissible, but then there's some context of like this is 6 years before Bigfoot, and
you think this guy would know what a bear looks like?
I mean at the night
But-
watch, it was quite. What was he say? Like was it 30 feet or 60?
it
I
was
think
like
you said
30.
a number. I forget.
But like to get a picture that good though, like
Yeah.
if it looks that big in the camera, he must have been pretty close to it. Because we all know when we try to take a photo, like we're like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna get a picture of the moon, and then all you see is a white little pin dot.
Yeah.
Because that's the moon. Because you need a crazy zoom, and it's like that for anything. So,
Yeah.
like if it's that small in the camera, I feel like it would be pretty close to him, to where he could tell the difference. But also, it's 3 a.m. It's a little high on sweet rolls. Like he could have just been a little like 3 a.m. There's nobody around you,
Yeah.
and you see something big as a dude that's full of hair and got fangs and stuff. Like
Yeah.
it could be a bear, and he could
be
have just been
anything.
scared.
But that is the story of the Michigan Dogman. Actually, a few stories.
There's a few of them.
I feel like it's a pretty good introduction to the Dogman.
yeah, there's a lot of them. There's quite a few of them. That was just a good selection of them.
A selection of Dogman stories brought to you by.
Yeah, so well purveyed. Well,
Yes. Well, his was quite a bit more of that story, like cryptozoology type deal.
this stuff's always good because there's so much crazy things. You learn so much.
You want to know what mine is? Mine's a true crime, and I haven't told him what I'm doing at all.
Okay.
You want to know what I'm doing
on?
on? Any guesses?
Is it local as in the U.S. or outside of the U.S.?
It's in the U.S.
What time period?
90s.
Oh, the 90s in the U.S.
Yes.
True crime. I'm stumped.
Kurt Cobain and how he did not kill himself.
Dude.
Have you looked into it at all?
Cobain is?
Bull crap. Everyone knows Kurt Cobain. If you don't, you know Nirvana. Even if you haven't listened to Nirvana, you know.
If you haven't listened to Nirvana, you've heard Weird Al
You
riffing
that,
Nirvana.
or you've seen the Weird Al, not the Weird Al, the Nirvana logo, or the kid in the swimming pool album cover, also Nirvana.
Yeah.
So
they had the smiley face, right?
Yeah, that was the smiley face.
I thought that was Blink 182.
No, Blink also had a smiley face, but it was different.
Oh.
At least I'm pretty sure. I'm almost pretty sure. Okay, so I don't know if I told you about it. Towards the beginning part of quarantine, I mean, we all had a lot of time on our hands, especially in the first few months, and I wanted to just like watch a good documentary. I was like, I never watched the Leaving Neverland, the Michael Jackson one. I was like, oh, maybe I could find it, but it was only on HBO and stuff. So I was like, okay, what has Amazon got? And in the recommended was this thing called Soaked in Bleach. I was like, that sounds pretty interesting. Like, wonder what that's about. And I watched the trailer, and I'm like, this is actually really good. Like, cinematography-wise and documentary-wise, it was a fantastic thing.
Better than the Bob Lazar documentary.
Yes.
One word.
Yes. What's better, the Bob Lazar documentary or the UFO Bigfoot one? That's a tough question.
I feel like the UFO Bigfoot was more entertaining, and the Bob Lazar one was.
Bob Lazar one was
artsy.
Like, whoa, this is gonna be crazy, and then you're like,
it's
not going anywhere.
Yeah, it took a little too long, and half of the movie was him talking to the guy on his cell phone.
Yeah.
But some of the shots looked good.
Yeah, some of it was cool, but it was
like he's definitely took his photography classes, but
Wait, what are you talking about? The guy?
Yeah, the
No, dude. That was one of the things I didn't like about it.
I don't remember that.
Well, like some of the shots were nice, but like some of the interior shots, it went from like Canon red cinema camera to like iPhone 5.
Yeah.
Like overblown. That. But this was not that documentary. This was a really good documentary, which I would watch again because I didn't know about. Okay, so I kind of found out about Kurt Cobain a few years ago through a mutual friend of ours. Yeah, big buff guy.
Jets? Okay.
No. Through a mutual friend we had, and I think we were listening to like a song, like a rock station or something. I was driving in a car with him, and he was like, and it was like "Nice Shot Kurt" was the name of the song. I don't know who did it. And I was like, oh, what's this song talking about? And then he's like, Kurt Cobain and how he shot himself. I was like, oh. And then I found out about Nirvana and all that. Wow. And just all these years, I was just like, okay, go along with the jokes like he shot himself, or just like that culture-esque of, he committed suicide. Yeah. And so I watched this, and I'm like, oh, yeah, this is true crime, right?
I think I was alive, but I was too young. But it was a really big deal because there was a lot of copycat suicides after Kurt Cobain died.
Right. And that is that's the worst part, and why it was so trash. What happened in this? So I'm just gonna kind of try and jump right in to what's going on. Let me just get some notes up real quick.
Oh, you don't keep all your notes in one spot?
Well, I had it. I was just making sure today. So this happened in 1994. Little thing about Kurt Cobain. He came from Aberdeen, Washington?
Yeah, because they were a garage band from Seattle.
Yeah, they were
raising cattle.
So this was like a super small town. One of those like you're a worker doing fish, or you're like dude on drugs doing nothing. It was kind of
that has a dog named Shep.
Yeah, pretty much.
Gets killed.
So they kind of blew up with their song Teen Spirit and stuff like that. And the documentary is basically set through the eyes of this private investigator. So there's a few characters we need to know about. One is Kurt Cobain. The second is his then girlfriend, Courtney Love. And then the last one is Tom Grant, the private eye hired out by Courtney Love. Yes. So it all starts with a phone call from Courtney Love. to the private eye guy, talking about how her husband credit card went missing and needs to be figured out, like who's using it, everything like that. And
I'm sensing some Hillary vibes already.
It's gonna get very much Hillary vibes, a lot. So so what happened, if you didn't know, because I genuinely did not know a lot about Kurt Cobain before this story. He in the later years of his life had a really big heroin addiction problem, and he actually overdosed in Rome a few months prior to this. So this is April 1994, right around Easter, right around Easter time.
What happens when you rock?
Yeah,
There's a lot of people.
He blew, like, they blew up and had a ton of money and going like this. So his credit card went missing after he got out of a rehab. So she hires the private eye to go do stuff. He's like, you know, you could probably just call a credit card company and figure this out. Like, you're just wasting money on me. And it's like, no. And then she tells him that her husband's Kurt Cobain and she's Courtney Love, who is also famous and has a band. And she's like, I don't know where Kurt's at. I can't get a hold of him. And so he and his firm go, and they're in Los Angeles, and then they send a unit up in Seattle to look around for him and stuff like that. This private investigator is just going with his job, and then he starts like noticing like some inconsistencies in Courtney Love and all that. And so he gets the call, and March 30th he goes to Seattle because she's like, oh, I think he's in Seattle and stuff like that, and he likes to stay in like really fancy hotels. And so he goes and picks up Kurt's best friend Dylan and everything, and she mentions to the private eye.
Wait, so he's missing at this point?
Yeah, he's missing at this point. He got out of rehab and his credit card's being used, and she can't get a hold of him.
Is he still in Nirvana at this point?
Yeah, this is still Nirvana.
Because this sounds a ton like Johnny Cash, because he was in and out of rehab, and like...
Interestingly enough, him and Johnny Cash actually had some similarities.
Yeah.
And I'll get to that in a minute. But she's like, and she tells him before he goes to Seattle, it's like, you know, I'm really scared for his life, and I think he's suicidal. And that's Courtney Love, his then wife. So he goes to Seattle, and he picks up his best friend Dylan, and they go to like this diner restaurant, and he's just trying to get some information from Dylan, and he's like, so I'm pretty this is pretty crazy, you know, pretty crazy case because he's super famous and he's suicidal. And Dylan's like, suicidal, what do you mean? It's like, yeah, Courtney told me that he's suicidal. He's like, no, he's not suicidal. And like, I've known him all these years. Like, he's depressed a lot and has a lot of weight on his shoulders, but he's like never talked about suicide or anything like that. Come to find out, Kurt Cobain and Nirvana actually turned down, I forget what the event was. It was like a big concert, something like Lollapalooza, something like that. Just those giant concerts, and he turned $9.5 million down.
He was like that though.
Yeah.
He actually, I think there's a story about Courtney Love buying like a brand new car or something like that, and he like forced her to give it back, like a new sports car, because he was like so kind of anti.
Yeah.
Like he was actually, Nirvana was the one that actually made smaller grunge bands like a thing, because he would wear other bands' t-shirts while he was performing. Yeah. So it kind of brought that whole culture about, which is why why Nirvana is famous. But yeah, so he was an artist, to where artists are like, I don't care, it's not about the money. Yep. I'm gonna do what I want to do.
Yup. And that's exactly what this guy was thinking, that they found out. And Courtney told the PI that he just stays in the fanciest hotels, and Dylan was like, oh, that's not true. He actually kind of stays in like rundown, raggedy places. Like, he'll go and find like a Hotel 5. You know, like just that off-brand, like, especially back in the 90s. And he would just stay there for like a week just because that's what he would do. And he found out that Kurt Cobain turned down this $9.5 million deal Courtney really didn't like that because it's $9.5 million.
Yeah.
And that Kurt was scared for his life to where he and Dylan went out, and Dylan bought a gun, like a shotgun, for house protection. And the kind of rounds they had don't go through walls, or it's harder for them to go through walls. So
Okay.
it only like kills intruders, basically. It doesn't. So they bought that shotgun with 3 other shells. So this shotgun,
Which, you don't know this, but we just took a 20-minute break, and it left off on the spiciest part of the story so far. So I don't know if we want to add this or cut it, but I'm ready. I'm ready to hear it, because I just found out they're getting a shotgun because they're scared. I don't know why they're scared. That was going to be my question.
Yup.
Why are they scared to where they thought they needed to buy a shotgun?
Here's the answer to it. Kurt Cobain turned on a $9.5 million deal to, I don't know what it was. I'm going to say Lollapalooza because I forgot what convention it was. It was that big, though.
It wasn't Vans World Tour.
I don't think it was. Well, actually, maybe it was.
I think this was before Vans, wasn't it? Anyway,
I feel like they've been doing that for a while. But he turned on a $9.5 million deal. That was just for, like, his band. So imagine how many people were losing money on one of the hottest bands and stuff. So he was genuinely scared for his life that, like, record companies were gonna, like, send Hitman out to get him.
Dude, Hitman, they're scary stuff.
So he bought he had his friend buy the shotgun for him, and then they were leaving it at the Seattle house. So they're in Seattle, the private investigator, and his name Dylan. Of course, it's Dylan. The Dylan kind of area.
That was his best friend?
Yeah, his best friend was Dylan.
Sounds like he's from Seattle.
Yep.
Sounds like a hipster.
Yep. So
Dylan's still alive, by the way?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Let me just take a quick look at the notes.
Because I, like many other Wikipedia philosophers, only know that Kurt Cobain killed himself a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah.
That's the extent of my knowledge.
So so that happened. They're in Seattle, and he finds out all these inconsistencies. Like Courtney said, he only stays in the best hotels, but he stays in like raggedy, really bad motels side of the road, because that's what he grew up on in Aberdeen. And in the documentary, they actually go to Aberdeen, and like with his, I don't think they interview his mom, but maybe. Either way, he had a rough relationship with his mom. But they talked to like all the old friends, like people who knew him when he was growing up and starting off his music career. And one of the questions was that he asked all of them was like, in the documentary, like, so do you think he like actually committed suicide? They're like, no.
All
like,
of his friends said that?
Yeah, they're like, he wasn't that type of guy. Like, he always had like a positive outlook on life. Like,
I hear that a lot about a lot of suicides, though.
I mean,
a lot of suicides were like, I don't understand how this guy could have done this.
But it was like he didn't. So with that, in the documentary, this is where everything starts taking a turn. The private investigator starts noticing it. In the documentary, they play an interview. I'm not sure what it was, but it was recent. He was actually planning to retire from Nirvana.
Oh.
And this will tie in at the end of the story, but he was going to retire. He didn't like being that famous. He really didn't like all that money. And this is where he's kind of like Johnny Cash. In the interview, he was actually like, yeah, I always just kind of pictured myself being like a solo artist like Johnny Cash, playing the acoustic guitar and just singing.
Yeah.
And stuff. And that's what he wanted to do.
This guy sounds a lot like, there's this person I listen to called Josh Garrels. I probably sang a few of his songs, but he's like a Christian kind of independent.
Yeah.
And like, I guess there's been quite a few like Christian and other, actually I think even secular, like people trying to sign him on, and he just refuses to because he just wants to make his own music. Yeah. So he sounds like he's in the same vein as kind of like, it sounds like something that Kurt wanted to do from what you're saying. Yeah. Where he wanted to do his own thing pretty much. He was an artist. He got
way too big and he didn't like that. And he was also struggling with heroin at the same time. So it was like, it was a rough patch in his life because it was like, well, I really don't want this much money and I don't want to be this famous. Yeah. And stuff. So he was trying to retire. But also, he was in the process of divorcing Courtney Love. Because she was the exact opposite. She wanted all the money. She was in a band of herself. She wanted all the attention.
Yeah.
So she could be like the famous part. And he was just going to divorce her for that because that was the lifestyle he didn't want. So that's what was going on with that. And
so you're thinking instead of getting half of his money, why not just get all of it?
Yeah, there was. So she brought this up. There's actually, I will also put. I'll put this website in. It says not secure, like it's not an HTTPS.
Oh.
So I don't know, but
there's no information you need to put on it.
What do you mean?
No information that you need to type in on the site, is there?
No.
Okay.
No, it's
so just open it in a private browser.
Yeah, just do that. I mean, I'm running Brave browser and stuff. It's not like the Black Vault where I run Tor.
You don't have a incognito mode on. You gotta put it on incognito.
Yeah.
And have it through your VPN that's set in
the Netherlands.
Set in the Netherlands.
Yeah, so just don't click the stuff where it's like, go here to buy this. I don't know, it's probably okay, but it has everything all in one place. Of course, I'm going to be dropping the link to the documentary, which is fantastic. Would recommend.
I feel like that should be the Midnight Odyssey's, that should be our slogan. The Midnight Odyssey. It's probably going to be okay.
It's probably
famous last words.
But Courtney Love actually mentioned to the PI that she mentioned a prenup agreement between the two, but she's like, my name's on all like the cars and all the assets anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. So
when they didn't get a divorce?
Yeah, that like she was talking about. And there's a lot of things that Courtney Love changed, fabricated for the story. She said she only called Kurt's rehab center once that in a day, and she called it 13 times.
Every single day, or just once a day?
In this particular thing, she said she only called the place once and he wouldn't pick up, but she actually called him 13 times. So what she did was she filed a false police report.
Flying that Lolita Express a few more times than she said.
Yeah. So she filed a false police report and like sent it to like a magazine company that like she overdosed on drugs or something to try and get Kurt's attention.
Oh.
And she totally fabricated that. And at first, she
seems like that. She's like that crazy ex-girlfriend meme.
And we were laughing about Clinton because I don't know if I've necessarily ever met psychopaths. I've met some strange people, but she was definitely one of those like liars that would change everything to try and move a story and stuff. And she later says to the PI, be like, I'm gonna get the person that ever set me up and sent in that story to the magazine and that I overdosed on drugs. And the PI's like, I think you mentioned that you and your friend actually turned out. She's like, oh yeah. So they found. Okay, so we talked about the shotgun. We talked about the crazy wife.
Yeah.
All that. So this is April 5th, super early in the morning. This is like 2:30 in the morning.
Okay. And
so him and Danny, so the PI guy, Tom Grant, and not Danny. Dustin? Dylan. I don't know why. I'm just trying to think of
I'm just hearing about all of
trash names.
Whoa.
I'm them all mixed up.
Whoa, you're hurting Dylan's feelings.
It's like Kyle own. It's like Kyle punching drywall. It's just like that meme's in my head. So this is Dylan. If there's any Dylans listening, it's not again. It's like right, Karen. You know what I'm saying?
I'm sorry, Karen. I'm sorry, all you Karens of the world. I know you're good people. I know some of you are good people.
So
most
they actually go to the house.
Especially if you listen to us. You're a good Karen.
You're a good Karen. You're coochie. So what happened?
Our demographic,
that's our 100% Karens. So him and Dylan, PI and Dylan, they go to the house at 2:30 in the morning on April 5th, and with that, they search through the house and seeing if they can find him. because Courtney says that he's missing at this point. So they search through the whole house, and it's clean, nothing, and it's like downpouring, like Seattle downpour and everything like that.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we can't find anything, and Dylan's like, yeah, I can't think of anywhere else he would be. So they drive off. The next morning, neighbor calls in to the police that there was a gunshot, and police officers walk around. And what Dylan didn't mention to the investigator, because he forgot and it was dark and it was rainy, is that the garage had like this greenhouse on top, and it was almost like a flat, like a loft above the garage.
Okay.
It wasn't connected to the house, and that's where they found Kurt Cobain's body. And so they were there, hours. They later found out that he was dead 2 days before that.
Before the gunshot?
Well, I forget why they called, but a neighbor called. I want to say it was for a gunshot. I'm probably wrong on it, but they called. But he was already dead for 2 days.
But did Courtney Love even know about the shotgun? Is that what killed him then? Was the shotgun?
We'll get to that. So this is
tell me now.
This is like the main part of the story.
Oh.
This is what hinges on everything besides all the context and crazy stuff going on. This is it. In the police report, they found next to him a box full of like heroin needles and spoons and all that and everything.
Okay.
And he had, oh man, what was it? It was a ridiculous amount of heroin. It was like
in his system or on
in his system. They found out he used, I wish I could bring up the exact amount. It was something, it was crazy. It was like, it would kill a man. And the police...
But a man put enough of that in him before he died.
Right. And the police disregarded that because they tried it out on another guy. They're like, we gave this guy heroin tablets and something like that, the same amount, and he was still able to function and everything. So he could have picked up the shotgun and shot himself. But that's not how he did it. He used needles that go directly into the bloodstream. And it was like, this was so much an amount, he would literally be unconscious or dead within a few seconds.
Wow.
Yeah, and then he was supposed to put everything down and then awkwardly reach the shotgun and then pull the trigger and stuff. And he just wouldn't have time for that. And that's where like one of the main pillars of this case that he didn't do a suicide was that. He was
suicided. That's what you're...
Yes.
Okay, so the question I have,
yeah.
If we have time, I don't know. I know we're running quick on time. Mm-hmm. Got to do a hard out.
Hard out.
What? They know if the heroin was in his body. Could they say, like, obviously the gunshot killed him, yes? Or was it the heroin overdose?
People who think he was murdered think it was the heroin overdose.
Is there there was no way for whoever was doing the autopsy to tell whether he either OD'd first or whether he was shot and then, like, there was unused heroin in the system?
So here is why...
Just so we can have some timeline, because if you put drugs in a dead person, I feel like...
Oh, I see what you're saying with that.
Yeah.
Well, we already covered that he wasn't really a
Although if his blood
person.
wasn't pumping, it wouldn't be in his system. It would be localized.
Yeah. No, it was a ridiculous amount, and he would definitely used it and everything. So here's the kind of second to last angle of the story, the vantage point. Like that one Vantage Point movie, I don't know, it had Cuba Gooding Jr. and it was a fantastic movie. And at the end, he gets a certain way and all the paintings come together if you look at it from a certain angle.
Are you talking about that movie, the
Endgame.
Spider movie?
It was called Endgame.
Oh, there's something like that with Morgan Freeman too.
No,
Along Came a Spider.
No, this is like a political, thriller kind of thing. And that is the police botched the story. I mean, the case so bad. Like, they came in within a few hours, they were like, it's a suicide. They wrote it off as a suicide.
Yeah.
And
so it sounds very Epsteinish then.
It was very Epsteinish. The police person, I can't remember if they were up for re-election or were about to get ousted or something.
Yeah.
But they were basically at a point where they didn't care. So they just ran through the story, all that. They didn't help the PI out at all. Actually lied to the PI guy about what photos they had and everything. And that. And the last part that kind of seals the deal for me is that after they found the body and all that, the PI guy interviewed Courtney Love and Dylan, and because Courtney found a letter in the house that wasn't there 5 hours, when they were in 2:30 in the morning when they were looking through the house.
And she's someone who's very pathological.
Yeah. So basically what she did is that she took a note he wrote that he was going to retire from Nirvana, and then put it in to the bottom, and then had forged the way he wrote at the bottom, goodbye cruel world type thing and everything like that. But he was going to go interview Dylan again, and when they got to this house, the house they were staying at, they had a meeting, and he was like, oh, so where's Dylan at? And he's like, oh, he's upstairs with Courtney and stuff like that. And 20 minutes later he comes down and he's clearly high on heroin, and she drugged him up. And he was basically drugged up on heroin conveniently right when he was supposed to get questions about. And they don't go back to him? No, he doesn't go back to him. And also living with Kurt and Courtney was a male nanny. Yeah, exactly. It's there's a male nanny.
A little strange.
That Courtney likes and all that. So with that, they tried saying oh, he was so suicidal, he knew where the shotgun was and everything like that. And yeah, so it was pretty much a setup.
Okay, did Courtney know about the shotgun?
Yeah.
Okay.
She knew about everything. And so this is what it looks like to me. Speculation time. Yeah, she pretty much pulled a Hillary and had him Epsteined, or whoever Epstein.
Which, can you believe that's a conspiracy theory?
Yeah, everyone thinks it's BS.
I believe that
someone did it, whether it's Hillary or not.
I get that it is kind of conspiratorial, but at the same time, usually conspiracies, there's a lot of non-evidence. There's a lot of things to dispute, but there's not a whole lot to dispute against the Epstein.
But you look at the motive to this, and it was literally he was about to retire. He just turned down $10 million just about, and he was going to divorce the wife, and
he wanted all his money.
And after he
died,
had
a prenup.
She was literally get me the most crazy lawyer, because the PI actually talks to a close friend who was part of the manager of the band and stuff, and she was like, this just isn't making sense. And he's like, you're right, it doesn't. So that's the story of Kurt Cobain. Go check out Soaked in Bleach. I'm gonna put it in the description because it's nice. It's just cool to watch.
Yeah, we're gonna have to.
After that, I'm like, yeah, he definitely did not kill himself.
Sounds like something to watch. We gotta watch. Maybe, I don't know about next week. Yeah. Maybe in the future we want to have a watch party.
Kind of like Riff Tracks. I don't know if you guys know Riff Tracks, but
maybe something like that, where we just watch some crazy documentaries and kind of give some input. Kind of what we're thinking.
Yeah. So we might do something like that where we just record audio and you guys can just put it together with the movie. I think it'd be pretty funny because there's...
I wonder if we can find some free public use stuff. That would be fun because the public use stuff is top tier.
Yes.
But yeah, that's that.
That's
that. Welcome back. Sorry it took so long, but hopefully it's a better experience for everybody.
Yeah.
I know it is for me because I don't feel like...
You're in a submarine.
I don't. My lapel just did not feel the greatest.
Yeah. So anyway, yep. And that's this week's episode. We'll be here next time. Some more stories and everything like that. Hope you enjoy.
I'm locked and loaded for the next story for next week.
Totally opposite. Well, we'll find something and it'll be good. But other than that, have a good one.
Catch you on the flip side.
This has been a production of The Midnight Odyssey. If you like what you listen to, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel as we release more content for you. If you're listening to podcasts only, please subscribe. But for both of you cool cats and kittens out there, if you could share it to people you think you would like or enjoy podcasts like this, we would appreciate it because we love what we're doing here. And yeah, you have a fantastic rest of your day.